Good morning, everyone. Welcome to yet another series of our introducing our affiliated members to Sea Turtle Rescue Alliance. My name is Mariana. I'm the program manager, and today I'm joined by Dr. Bree Talbot. She's all the way 11 hours away from me at Byron Bay Wildlife Hospital. So we're talking about Australia today. To continue a bit what we discussed last month as well. We're in Australia, but in Queen Island. Now we're going to go to Byron Bay area. So Bree, thank you so much for joining us today. It's a pleasure to have you guys on board. And would you like telling us what is your position within the institution and what is Byron Bay Wildlife Hospital about?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me on. I'm really excited to be here. So my name is Dr. Bree Talbot, and I am the General Manager of Veterinary Services for the Byron Bay Wildlife Hospital. And we are a not-for-profit charity that has a dedicated wildlife hospital in the Northern Rivers of New South Wales, which is the Byron Bay area. And we've been now going for 5 years, and we see all different types of wildlife, with marine turtles making up a fair proportion of that.
That's great. You've been operating for quite some time. So, have you always dealt with sea turtles from the beginning, or that is something that was introduced later on?
No, actually, my on my first day of working at the Byron Bay Wildlife Hospital, I had a green sea turtle as my number one patient. So um, we have seen them from the very beginning, and I've really grown to love them, and something that I want to keep getting better at and improving our medicine and improving our diagnostics with them. So
Hmm.
we're trying to do more and more as we sort of become more, stable and cemented in our area.
And so you've mentioned about the green. What is it? The most amount of turtles that you get are green sea turtles, or do you work with other species as well?
Yeah, so the majority we see is green sea turtles, but we do get hawksbills in and we get loggerheads as well. So just today, actually, we had two green sea turtles in that we were actually taking for CTs. And then prior to that, we had on the weekend 130 kilogram loggerhead become stranded on the beach just sort of near us. And then we had a hawksbill in the last week that had a fractured plastron. So lots of different species.
Yeah. And are
But
those also different life stages then? Because the loggerhead was an adult already. And are these
yeah,
being juveniles, adults?
yeah, we majority see those juveniles, so
Hmm.
roughly between the 8 and 20 kilo mark.
Thank
The
God.
hawks, pardon?
Thank God in terms of lifting all that weight.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, yeah, the we have had some bigger greens, but majority of them are those like sort of medium-sized ones, so you can kind of do it by yourself. Um, but the hawksbills, when we like breeding season, we will get some baby loggerheads and baby hawksbills in the washback. So
Mhm.
we'll see those really tiny ones that have only been out for 3 days and then they get washed back in. So we do see those, but yeah, usually they're, sort of these bigger size ones. And they're coming in because they've been washed up against the rocks, or we've had a few shark bites as well. Or, well, we assume they're shark bites just from their injuries.
Yeah.
And then we get a lot of them just stranded. They just sort of come in. We've got a few marine parks in our area, which is really
Mhm.
good. So they can come to rest, but obviously they're coming up closer to the shore and they're sick. So yeah, we
So
get a
how
few
many
different.
cases would you say that you see per year in regards to sea turtles?
Oh, that's a good question. Maybe 30, 40, maybe more. I think just last month we had 8 or 9 green sea turtles come in.
Hmm.
Um, and I mean, it is seasonal. So like we will get more of those hatchlings coming in. So we will get sort of nests of those washing back. But we'll be getting turtles, uh, yeah, once to 2 times per week, just consistently.
Okay. And what would be like your capacity in terms of caring for how many sea turtles could you carry at one given time
We're
if you had?
really lucky. in the sense that we get to work with Australian Seabird and Turtle Rescue.
Hmm.
So they have a much bigger facility than we have at the moment. So we'll keep them in for intermediate or so immediate care. So we can have like two or three turtles in, but we will then send them to ASTR and they'll do their more long-term rehab. It's something that I'd love to try to work with them more so that we can keep those medically indicated ones in hospital for a bit longer. I've
Hmm.
actually just got a grant to be able to build some more turtle tanks. So I'm trying to
That's
find room to
great.
put those. Yeah, so I'm really looking forward to that. I've just got to find the space for it, but I want to get some more like filters in and more tanks in so that we can keep them in so we can do their swim tests and sort of treat them. Because it's interesting, we're seeing a lot of sort of septicemic turtles coming
Okay.
in. And they've all become quite resistant to the antibiotics that we're using. So I've been doing a lot more blood cultures on these guys. And so I'd like to be able to keep them in so then I can sort of see how they're reacting to the different
Cool.
medications. But at the moment, I don't have the space for that. So they have to go to the rehab facility and then they come back for their checks.
So when you're discussing that, you have a couple of places for now for the turtles. Is it like tanks with it's water coming from the ocean? Are you preparing the water yourself? I mean, not yourself
Yeah, so
personally, but
we're, yeah, we're preparing the water. So we'll do freshwater baths for a while, for sort of 24 hours. But other than that, we have to do seawater, like make it ourselves. We're
okay,
close to the ocean, but we're not close enough
enough.
that we can then actually bring it in.
Yeah,
So
so unfortunate.
the ocean is 3 streets away, but it's up a hill. So I haven't figured out how, unless we just get buckets and take it up. I haven't figured out how to do
No.
that yet.
Yeah, it just takes a lot more effort to put into when you have to do the salt water yourself.
Yeah. Um, Yeah, it is, unfortunately. But the one thing that I'm using the most, which is our sort of newest little thing, is our sort of immediate care, where it's a dry dock, but it's a spray system, which you guys have probably lots of people have already got it, but for us it's pretty new to have that. And so the turtle doesn't have to be in water, but we're having that nice warm water spraying over them so that they're still staying moist. And that seems
Awesome.
to be really decreasing the stress in those guys.
That's great. So what are the most common injuries or illnesses that we've touched a little bit on each of them, but like what's the most common illness that you'll see arriving to you for
We'll,
injury?
yeah, we will see floaters. So majority of them will come in floating, and so we'll see, lung collapse or respiratory dysfunction. Um, Quite often they've got that ulcerative dermatitis all over their flippers. They've got soft carapaces, soft plastrons, and so it's kind of like a multi-organ or multi-system
Hmm.
dysfunction. They're just, emaciated or malnutritioned. And so when we do their blood work, they're obviously anemic, they're hypoproteinemic, um, they've got increased white blood cells. Um, it's that whole that picture where it's just a sick
Yeah,
turtle.
yeah. And you're getting very
We
sick
don't
turtles.
we're getting I mean we've only done it once, but we have done a blood transfusion on one of the really sick
Hmm.
turtles. And that actually worked really well for that
Yeah,
turtle, and that just gave him that pep that he needed. But they all just come in so flat, and just in really poor body condition. And then, the epibiota,
you
a
don't get
fair bit.
easy cases, huh?
No, no, but I
That's
like it.
crazy. Do
It
you
is
have any understanding of why is that happening in your region?
no, not yet.
Okay.
It's something that I would love to get into, doing more of the research side of it
Hmm.
and investigating why they're coming in. So that's sort of one of my goals for this year is to try to do that a little bit more. Interestingly, a little further south from us on sort of the mid coast of New South Wales, um, there was a section there where they got probably about 10 or 15 green sea turtles just die. And they're not quite sure what was happening there. That seems to be a bit of an isolated incident, um, but I think is indicative that our oceans aren't particularly happy with us because then above us in Moreton Bay, they're getting fibropap turtles and soft shell turtles up there. So we're getting all these clusters of different things happening with the
Hmm.
turtles. Our turtles just seem to be sick turtles, but maybe our
Okay.
turtles are like coming before they get to the really, really those either
Yeah.
ends of where the other facilities are seeing them.
Have you have also noted a lot of presence of spirochetes in your turtles? Because with Coin Island, they were saying a lot of our turtles are just coming in riddled with it. Um,
Yeah. We
okay.
basically assume that every green sea turtle will have
Okay.
spirochetes. So we basically, the rehab center will treat them for it. Yeah, it just seems to be something that is super
Okay.
common with the eastern
Obviously, I'm
turtles.
talking to you who, by those of you who didn't realize that, she's a veterinarian, of course, and she's already introduced herself. But how is veterinary care managed at your center? You're the senior vet, so is there a team below you? Do you have nurses, etc., around you, or is it mostly biologists, rehabbers working with these
Yeah.
animals?
No, I'm really lucky that I've got an awesome team that I get to work with. So we have several other vets on the team, we have several full-time nurses on the team, and we also have some casual nurses on the team as well. I might just have to close the door because I can hear my children if that's okay.
Don't
Sorry.
worry. But it's really interesting because Byron Bay Wildlife Hospital is one of the cornerstones of wildlife, you know, medical treatment of these animals. So, of course, we're dealing with a big, big team, very different from other rescue centers around the world that have a lot less resources. We're talking with a team that deals with not only sea turtles, but a lot of different hundreds of species of animals, both land and marine. So it's super interesting to have a different perspective as well, a different take on how to
Yeah.
take care of these animals in this setting.
It is. It's and we're definitely learning every time that we have a turtle in. So, we do rely and work closely with the rehab groups that look after the marine
Hmm.
turtles, and still learning about, what they like, and what is the best way to keep them. I think it's really important that vet teams and rehab teams work together because that's where when you get that intersection, it works well, that the welfare of the animal just, it is first and foremost. And that's
Exactly.
where we can get the most, data and the most, outcome driven work. So yeah, I'm lucky that we've got a really good vet team. We've got nurses who, love working with sea turtles. And we all want to keep striving to be better. And so we
Yeah.
want to keep doing more for them, which is good. And then, like I said, I rely on the other
Mm.
rehab groups to find out information about how we can keep them, um, in hospital. I've reached out to other places like Auckland Zoo who do a lot of wild sea turtle work, and ask them about their rehab. So it's that good collaboration where you can talk to other
Yeah.
facilities and just keep learning, which is great.
Yeah, the keyword always being collaboration between all these different places. Collaboration is it takes you places for sure. You
Yeah.
mentioned that you were doing some CTs just recently with those greens. So what equipment or facilities do you have access to where you are at, and where can you move these animals as well too?
Yeah. So we're lucky in our actual hospital. We have full access to biochemistry and hematology. So we can do all of our bloods in-house. So we can do CBCs, biochems. We have started using what's called an iStat, which gives us ionized calcium, which I find really good for these turtles when they come in because all of them are severely hypocalcemic, and usually in metabolic alkalosis. And so I'm getting more information about what
Mhm.
fluid choices I should be using on them. We also have digital X-ray. So we're able to get really good images of their shells. We've got ultrasound. So when we want to do internal surveys, and then we're very lucky that there is a veterinary hospital that's probably about 20 minutes away from us that has a CT machine. And they do our wildlife for us, which is great. So they sort of slot us in between their dog and cat clients, and it's a bit of a fun time for them because they get to see the sea turtles or they get to see, whatever animals we're taking. And that just helps us get a bit more information about what's going on because x-rays are great, but they don't give
No,
you everything of what's
for
going on in them.
sure. You are
And
so
so one of
lucky
the
to have
ones,
access to that extra imaging detail, the
yeah,
finesse of the CT scan. It's invaluable for sure.
yeah. So the two that we sent today, one, he's not using his front left flipper properly. He's got weakness.
Mhm.
And so we want to sort of investigate if there's any other causes or what the causes could be of that. And then the other turtle, he came in stranded with, collapsed lungs and respiratory changes, but also just changes in, his mid-cælome that I couldn't figure out what structures they could be. And I wanted to know if it was an obstruction or if it was a mass or if it's just gas sitting there. And so, having, like you said, that access to the CT is going to help us figure out where we need to go to next.
Great. So going from that CT, etc., like, does your center carry out any research? Obviously, you guys are focused on mostly just being a hospital, but
Yeah.
do you do medical research with that?
Um, we're very in our baby stages of research.
Hmm.
We haven't sort of done any publishing or anything like that. We've got a lot of data, but I need to find someone to help me with the data. So I'm hoping that we will get an intern this year. And what I'd love them to do is start doing some research and data work on the sea turtle stuff that we have. So yeah, it's mm, one of my sort of aims this year is to get more into research and use the information that we've found to see if there's any insights into the Australian turtles, because a lot of the data, when I look at it is overseas based. And so I'd like to be able to see what the Australian turtles are doing.
Yeah,
Um,
very
something that
different ecosystem, and for sure,
yeah,
different
different water
pressures.
temperatures, yeah, different pressures, and so I would like to. I'm just trying to figure out how to fit
Short
it all
time,
in.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, what would you say are the main goals of your organization, your work?
Look, our main goal is to try to get all wildlife back out into the wild. We believe that every wildlife species, no matter, if they're furry and cute or scaly and potentially, a bit scary looking, they all deserve the same respect. They all deserve the same treatment, and they deserve to go back out into their home ranges. And so our goal is, and our mission is to provide positive welfare outcomes for these animals, and try to get the public and the community involved and get them to love wildlife as much as we do and to care for wildlife as much as we do. So it's just a small thing, but
So from
um,
that on, I could ask you, because we mentioned that before the talk, that you had volunteers, you have other students working with you, and now you've just touched on the local community. So first off, how can people get involved in your work, and then how can also they help you in the conservation of this species? So both in working directly with you and out.
yeah. So yeah, that's a great question. I suppose helping us, like if people are in the area, they can help volunteer, and there's lots of different ways to volunteer. So that's in the hospital, or that could be, just doing, administrative work for us, or even, just collaborative work. In terms of helping us, we are a charity, so we can only do the work if we are funded, which is most like, a lot of wildlife organizations. So, donating money for us to be able to continue doing this research, to be able to put on an intern to do this is great. And then the other way is, if people want to collaborate and they want to do research, reaching out and seeing whether or not we can be part of research projects, and actually putting our data in with other data as well. I mean, that's something that would be really, I think, important and really cool to participate with. And just collaborating, with with any other organization, because together we're better than apart. And so, we can do so much more. So I'm just super keen to keep trying to, um, grow and learn, and keep trying to do better for our marine turtles because I know that we can. I just got to get there. I just got to get all the stuff and the equipment, so we can keep on helping them.
And do these students and or volunteers need to be Australian? Can they be from overseas?
Yeah, so our veterinary students, when they come over, they just have to be in their final year of their studies. But we have so many students that come from overseas. We are actually booked up until 2028 for veterinary students
Wow.
coming over, and majority of those are from overseas. So yeah, we have a lot of people from Germany, from Switzerland, from America, from England. Yeah, lots of different places. So yeah, we're super keen to have students come and learn about Australian wildlife, and get those skills, and maybe, they'll love the passion for wildlife and stay. In terms of volunteering, again, if you're just in Australia, you can come and see if there's something that works. works for them and works for us. So
So at least
yeah.
now we know that we need to apply in advance if you are a
Yes,
student.
yeah. I do feel bad. I've had a few students message me going, "Can I please have a placement in August?" And I was like, which year?" But it's really nice that
But
people
it's
do want to
great
come
though.
out.
Exactly. That is
Yeah.
incredible.
And I'm
Um,
really into teaching people about wildlife and how cool it
that,
is and the fact that you can do stuff. So I really love that people want to do wildlife.
yeah. And it's incredible because Australia is so particular in the kind of fauna that you work with compared to the rest of the world. So it's definitely a unique opportunity, not only for the turtles, but specifically for everything else that you don't see anywhere else as well.
Yeah. Yep.
Do you have any interesting or rewarding case that has happened to you with the sea turtle? Because I know you see lots of different species, but with sea turtles that you'd like to share with us, like a case that really marked you.
Yeah, so we had a sea turtle a little while ago. Her name was Rainbow, and she was presumably attacked by a shark.
Mm.
And the shark had bitten off half of her flipper. And we tried to sort of treat it with conservative care, but unfortunately, it was beyond repair, and so we made the decision to amputate. And so I amputated her flipper, and went through all the whole rehab. And then I was lucky enough to go out to it's called Nothing Gully, um, and the other name for it is Julian Rocks, which is a very well-known marine park in Byron Bay that a lot of people go out to snorkel and scuba dive with. And we tagged her so that we knew it was her. And so I got to go out and release her and then just swim around the ocean with her once we had released her, which was so rewarding. But then it was even better because she was tagged and people knew about her. I had all these people tagging me that they'd see her out in the wild and they're swimming with her. And this was probably about 2 or 3 years ago, but people even this year have been saying that like she's made Nothing Gully her home, and she's still swimming around. And so people are still telling me that they see Rainbow. And it's really nice because it means like I know that I've helped her. And then she's surviving and she's thriving. And she's decided to stay in this area. And so it's just a really simple thing, but it was really rewarding that she stayed around and people get to see her. And so I still know that she's okay.
Mm. It's I guess every wildlife that because you don't build a relationship with a patient in the sense that that patient doesn't really acknowledge you. They're not domestic animals like a cat or a dog, and so your reward really does come from I know I've made a difference. She's not going to recognize you back, but
No,
you
she swam
know that
away from me very
exactly.
quickly.
But it's incredible to have that and see that what you've done in hospital it does repercute for like years to come. And she's 3 years later down the line, she's still
Yeah,
doing good. And being with three flippers, it's even I guess a better feeling that okay, no, she's coping fine. She's living her
yeah.
life, which is what you intend for all wildlife. So that is like the perfect wholesome story about like how can you make sure that what you do matters.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Like I didn't think that she would sort of stay around the area, but the fact that she's been swimming around and actually like only yesterday someone told me that they saw her.
Hmm.
And so then that makes me happy because you're right, I don't get to really make like with all of our patients when they start to bite me or try to scratch me or try then I know that they're getting better. And so like I don't get to build that sort of nice rapport like in dog and cat world.
Yeah.
But when I get to see them out and I get to see them doing their normal thing and swimming and like the feeling of swimming with sea turtles, when you see them in nature, it's such an
Yeah, it
unbelievable
is
feeling.
incredible. And it's great
Um,
because your story is exactly the same as we had in the Maldives, a patient, also green sea turtle that had to be amputated, Gus. And once he was released on the island's seagrass meadows, he's actually taken that as his home. Other turtles travel away. And
yeah,
so, because he's three flippered and we also have his photo ID, he gets seen very often by snorkelers or the boat crew mostly because he doesn't like being near people as much.
yeah,
He prefers to be near the boat area, but it's been 3 4 years down and we still see him also on the seagrass every day or not every day but we see him regularly,
yeah,
and so it is great also this that exact same feeling like every time we go into the oh there goes Gus, like he's passing by
yeah.
and he's just
It's
so
so cool, isn't
it
it? It's
is
just
so
like
incredible.
they're just letting you know they're okay.
And so from that, what would be, if you have one favorite fact about sea turtle, why have you been so interested in contributing to their conservation?
I well, I'm so interested in them just because I think I'm amazed by them. You know, when you get those big 130-kilo turtles in, I just think you have been swimming around the ocean for so long. Imagine the things that you have seen and you have witnessed and the animals that it just gives me chills. I can't really explain it. Like they're just so prehistoric and I just feel in awe when I'm with them. And that sounds really corny, but
No, it
it's
sounds about like how all of us in the community
yeah,
probably
okay,
feel the
good.
same way.
Good. Yeah, I'm just in awe of them. And so I think they're so majestic and they are so, I don't know, graceful and elegant, yet so resilient, um, and tough. That I just want to help them. The ocean is our last great sort of place, as David Attenborough sort of says, we can still save the ocean, and I would love to still be able to contribute to that. Um, I don't know. They're just cool animals, you know. I
They
love
are.
that,
They are.
you
We
know.
do agree with that.
Yeah. That they've just like I was actually swimming with several yesterday. We went out snorkeling and just going. I just love that, you've got flippers and they're solid and you've got a shell, but you're still swimming and you're graceful as you move and you're really quick when you want to move through the water,
Yeah, it is
you know.
surprising because you always assume reptiles, I guess, to be
Exactly.
slower metabolism, slower moving somehow, but no, sea turtles do prove
No.
you wrong
And
every
is
time.
it, yeah, the sea turtles that they're able to actually change the temperature in their front flippers to help them swim faster, so that they get a couple of degrees warmer, so they can keep going those long distances.
Hmm.
I mean, that's pretty
They have
cool.
incredible adaptations. It's marvelous for
Yeah,
sure. And being in such a different environment to what we know, living in the water already, makes it quite spectacular in how can they adapt to not breathing so often, slowing down their heart rate.
yeah,
All these adaptations are just beyond incredible.
yeah. I love
Thank
it.
you so much, Bree, for making the time to talk with us today. Because I know the hospital is always incredibly busy. You just came out of a working day. Oh, I do appreciate that. And hopefully we'll be collaborating more as well in the future within Citral Rescue Alliance because obviously we can help you guys connect within the region. We want to have someone that's from the region, understanding that area and the
Yeah,
work that's being done in that to kind of be a voice for that specific region. So we have different regional leaders. And so
yeah,
we're trying to be build that going forward. And that's great that you guys already are starting to collaborate with each other and you already have those connections. And so that's really important. And we just want to bring that up to connect then to the global community in general. And
yeah.
so this hopefully will be a long-term collaboration also with us.
I hope so.
Yeah, I'm so
Yeah,
excited to also see the photos and be able to present you guys to
yeah,
everyone
yeah.
else that
I
doesn't know
thank
that
you.
corner of the world. Thank you so
Yeah, I'm
much, Bree.
super excited. Thank you. It's just yeah, any collaboration research projects, like I'm really keen to do more of that kind of stuff and learn more. Because you can always learn more and I just want to be able to do better by these guys. And yeah, keep collaborating and learning. It's great.
Thank you so much. Have a good
Thank
day,
you.
everyone. Thank you for joining us.
Bye.
Bye.